Maximus Analysis here for April 20th, 2016, and we came to the top of the range. So I tweeted out the typical levels that I do. I do it around 6:30 in the morning, and then it passed the last one I had, which I think was 2092 or 2093 and a half, and the next one above was 2105. 2105 is significant because it's around the sell signal for these two. Basically, they didn't clear those. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to waterfall down or do anything like that, but again, it was getting long in the two, so we'll see if they roll back into. Again, we don't want them to. We want them to hold this 2082 level all week. Okay, it seems far, but it's not really that far. Again, it's 2085 was the low, and they ripped it again and ripped off of crude's EIA report. EIA report put us right to our target of 44 on crude, and we'll do that after these. I usually do NQ, YM, then the CL. So I wouldn't say we rolled because it's still, you still have positive pivots. Like you still have positive highs that, let me move this. We still have positive highs that we haven't taken out. So we're still above this 2073, 2072 level. Again, the volume is okay. Again, we want to see if they're going to continue higher or if they're going to come back into this level, which puts us right back around these two highs as well. So if you look here, you look, oops, let me use another one. You look at the highs here, we just want to hold above that, okay? So we'll continue to watch that. Again, the 2082 level is what we'll continue to look at for the ES. Weekly, again, it still should be very, very strong in regards to the weekly chart pattern. Just want to see how they close it. Again, they close it near the highs, then I think that we potentially could have a look at this 2160 level. But again, we need to hold these bull pivots, and we have continued. So just continue to watch it. So let's look at the daily for the NASDAQ futures, which is the NQ. And you can see it's sideways, but still holding these lows, still above the 200-day moving average. Just not really doing much. Kind of choppy, which was weird because, again, we had such a good day. But don't want to overthink it. So let's look at the weekly time frame, and we can see that, again, we want to see how this closes, because we definitely and I showed this, I think I shared it on Twitter, and I have a TradingView account that I'll link in the videos as well. This is what would be considered a head and shoulder pattern. Now, I'm not a big traditional, these patterns, cup and handle, and all that stuff, because I most of the time I think that that's very late, because a lot of people are not going to put their stop. So a cup and handle would be this, just quick and dirty. Take this, come down, it gives you a little dip right here, and then it goes for new highs. Most people are not even going to put their stop below there. They're just going to put a breakout, and then they're just going to try to ride it all the way up, versus saying, listen, breakouts are very low probability trades. And go from there. So this would give me a lower high still, and the volume is very weak going into Thursday. So we still have to look at this with an open mind to say we need to hold 44.89.50. Okay, they came close to the 45.90 area. We said 4600, so we can chalk that out as I said. I'm not going to be a stickler and say it has to get to 4600 or something, but we just want to watch this again and again and again. Let's look at the YM. We don't spend much time on it because it's just really 30 components. Just need to hold the 76.750 area. Okay, that brings them back down near these lows, and we'll watch there. CL, M contract on the daily, you can see they're coming right. The high of today, I think, was 44.26. We had 44 to 44.44. Also, you can look and we'll see if they're really going to push, how much they're going to push because of how much volume we have here. But you definitely cannot say anything bad about, these lows. You got these lows, you got higher highs right here, and, we'll see where they break this out to. But again, this would be from this low, this would be where you'll be pulling some profits off. I'm not telling you to take the position off, but don't be a pig. Don't start saying it could get to 52, could get to, again, that it could, but not for this trade. So, but what we'll also look at is the weekly. The weekly is giving you a really bullish type of candle for the moment. So I wouldn't want to really short into that, and really would look to see how they're going to make their way to these previous this previous low right here, which is 45.5. Okay, so let's look at some names quickly, and we'll start off with Apple. And Apple closed down again. The volume, we'll see if it makes a bull pivot here, but the volume wasn't really that much. It didn't really move up that much in comparison to how the markets were moving. So we'll continue to look at that one, and also you could look from the weekly time frame that it's still breaking below this low. So we're going to continue to see, again, this candle is still open, and we just want to see where they're going to go from here. The NQ, excuse me, not the NQ, the Netflix, again, let's see how much they're going to bounce up from here, because I think, again, there's a lot of people that went short today based on the breakout. So I'll tell you exactly what they're doing. If we went to a 15-minute, they saw the breakout of the lows, they tried to take it, and then they got squeezed and sideways. That's what happens, because you don't want to chase, because your stop is not going to be where it needs to be. It's going to be so tight that it makes no sense. Again, you're not saying that I'm putting my stop above here. We'll see how high they can get in regards to this little retracement. And we'll try to see if we can reshort if they get close to this, depending on what the volume looks on each one, because you have this sideways pattern right here, which you can see. Okay, you have this and you have this, right? It's not perfect, but you see the channel, right? Pop, 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 break down, give a little pivot and a break, and then you can have more speed coming to the downside. And you can see from the weekly that there is it's broken right now. So a lot of support, and we'll continue to see how this volume, but this is a bear flag if you've ever seen one, but we have to see where this thing closes. All right, so let's look at a Facebook, and a Facebook, as weird as it sounds, didn't participate much in regard to follow through. This is very annoying, which we've seen a lot of that with Facebook. But you have down $2.50, only closing to 10 cents. All right, we're going to see a rally. You see another little hammer type of candle. Let me expand this out a little bit so you guys can see it. You have another little hammer, and then the next thing you're like, damn it, just give me some follow through with such an up day. But you can see that, again, the NASDAQ was sideways. So that's why I begin with that, because that's the tide that's going to lift all boats. But NASDAQ is not bearish. It's just, this is annoying. So we'll continue to look at the weekly. And again, this looks like a pretty decent pattern. Decent pattern, higher low. If this pivot, they break above this high, which they just did, but let's see if they should close up higher and then try to take out this all-time high right here. It's just taking them, it's just, what's this, the 10th week? Let's look and count these weeks. One, this is 10 weeks to get back to this previous high. But again, if it goes, it goes, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Next one we're going to look at is Solarcity. So let me type this one in. And Solarcity had a pretty big day, especially with the big volume. But now it's just like I see this extra volume. So usually at the start of the run, we want to see volume. And at the end of the run, we want to see volume. You didn't have the volume here, but you had the volume end right here. You can see the volume started getting a little toppy, and this is the capitulation a little bit more, but this is where you're kind of saying, all right, there's people that at this were saying it could go to 100. Yeah, calm down. But now you're starting to see like, okay, we want to see them hold this 2961 area because you're starting to see higher volume. And if you look at the weekly, you could see, let's really go back and say, okay, they're still below some key levels of support. So you have this level. You also have this little gap down as well, right at this level, right? So we could put a little, goodness, come on. Hold on just a second, guys. Okay, got my tool now. Okay, so you got these levels, and it's still tapping you know, this band of resistance right here. So some of you might say, oh, this is up 8 weeks, but there's a big difference between something being up near highs and something being up 8 weeks and still not breaking any key levels. So we'll watch how this candle closes going into next week. I also wanted to just show the IWM. IWM has the same thing. This is the only index that, again, it came all the way back up, but there's a big difference between this coming up 8 weeks and SPY coming up 8 weeks. It's just a totally different type of look right now. So this one, IWM, still looks a little fugazi right now. So we'll see. And again, we'll also look at the weekly for US Steel. Again, up, but you can see it's a clear, still in a downtrend from these lows. And also CAT. I know they might be reporting, but still the weekly is giving you near these lows. So I want to see where these names close, because you're starting to get a little lightening on volume, and let's see if they ran out of gas or they're just going to continue like crazy. So a little longer in the tooth, but I just wanted to give some context into what's going on here, and we'll see what the strong names look like, you know, and then what the weak names look like, because there's a lot of names that are still retracing but not having that type of strength on the weekly time frame. So sorry for the long video, but just thought that information would be valuable. Take care.